Hey YouTube, how art thou? I hope thou art good. Today, let's talk about a city that is nicknamed the Red Stick. Of course, I'm talking about Baton Rouge. Red Stick is actually French for Baton Rouge. And the city got its name from the blood-drenched poles that were used to hang bear heads and fish in various rituals that were carried out by the natives.
In 2019, the population of Baton Rouge was 220,236.
The city is also nicknamed the capital city, and guess what? It's the capital city of Louisiana. There's pros here, there's cons here. So if you're thinking about moving to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, I did a video on why you should move there. And by the way, in the midst of me making that video, I realized number 8 was not supposed to be on that list, but it was supposed to be on this list. Yeah. But anyway, if you're thinking about moving to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, watch my top reasons not to move to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Number 10, transportation. Now, I read somewhere that even though WalkScore.com rates Baton Rouge 41 out of 100 for walkability, which means that more residents are dependent on cars, Baton Rouge is known for having some of the worst traffic in the nation. Biking also received a low ranking of 43 out of 100. I mean, there's buses available, but I really don't know if you can get to a desirable location in a speedy fashion taking a bus. I mean, you also can call an Uber, Lyft, things of that nature. But yeah, the traffic here, or transportation, is something you want to consider before moving to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Like, if you don't have a car, yeah, it may be a problem. Number 9, flooding. Now, the flooding here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana it can be a problem. My one friend who's probably watching this, so shout out to Trent. Greetings, little bro. How you feeling? Yeah, he was telling me one time, I think like the water had got so high that he left his car outside. And long story short, after the water rose so high on his car, if I'm not mistaken, his car didn't work after the flooding was done. Just imagine, like, you park your car outside, it floods, then after the flooding is over, you go back and start your car and it no longer works. So yeah, it's that. And then there's also just multiple stories on flooding. I read somewhere the widespread flooding stranded tens of thousands of people in their homes and vehicles. At least 30,000 people were rescued by local law enforcement, firefighters, the Louisiana National Guard, the Coast Guard, and fellow residents from submerged vehicles and flooded homes. There's more stories and whatnot, but definitely do your research before you move there and check out the flooding situation. And I'm not saying that they always flood bad like that, but you have low flooding, and then you have flooding that's to the point where you need some help and rescue. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Number 8, traffic, and stay tuned to the end for some Baton Rouge, Louisiana trivia. Now, I read somewhere that Baton Rouge has a reputation for having traffic problems. This issue is so serious that Baton Rouge has been named the second most dangerous U.S. city for drivers, which is due in part to the number of fatal accidents that occur annually in Baton Rouge. I've also been driving in Baton Rouge, and yeah, the traffic there can definitely be bad. So yeah, keep that in mind. Number 7, housing. Now, housing in Baton Rouge, Louisiana is rated an F by Area Vibes. The median home price is $158,400 compared to Louisiana's $148,300. The median rent asked is $797 in Baton Rouge compared to the median rent in Louisiana, which is $800. Keep that in mind. Number 6, employment. Now, the employment in Baton Rouge is rated a D- by Area Vibes. The income/capita is 15% lower than the nation's average, and the unemployment is 20% higher than the nation's average. The median household income is $39,969, and the unemployment rate is 5.6%. Number 5, crime. Now, the crime in Baton Rouge is rated an F by Area Vibes. The total crime is 142% higher than the nation's average. The property crime is 142% higher than the nation's average. The total crimes reported was 14,032, and there are 6,242 total crimes out of every 100,000 people. And the crimes range from murder, rape, robbery, assault, violent crime, burglary, theft, vehicle theft, and property crime. I've heard just about how Baton Rouge is this and that when it comes to crime. But from my own personal experience, when I went around Baton Rouge, even though some parts look super sketchy, if you stay out the way, you may be able to avoid a lot of the crime. That's what I find in my case. I definitely thank God for keeping me safe and whatnot. But it's like, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I'm not out there with gang members, I'm not gang banging, so I stay out of the way of a lot of that stuff. And it seems like when you do that, the area can seem somewhat safe, but those are still the statistics that follow the crime in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Number 4, cost of living. Now, the cost of living here actually is rated a C+ by Area Vibes, and it's 4% lower than the nation's average. It's not necessarily the worst, but in the area of goods and services, healthcare, transportation, it's slightly higher than the nation's average in those areas. Keep that in mind. Trivia time. The Myrtles Plantation is known to A, still practice slavery, B, never have shown racism, C, have a vampire that shows from time to time, or D, be haunted. And if you guessed D, be haunted, you are correct. Apparently, the Myrtles Plantation is known to be haunted and has been aired on national television. And with that being said, they turned it into an inn and restaurant where visitors can come spend the night. Yeah. If you tell me, alright, listen. At this restaurant, at this inn, we got ghosts. Okay, cool. I'ma be ghost. I'm not staying there. Why would I stay at a place knowing that it's haunted? But and if I don't have to, yeah, I don't know. But people are different. Different strokes, different folks, as they say. Number 3, sports. Now, sports are like religion to some people in the South. I remember I was working in Atlanta by the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and there was a football game going on. The traffic was absolutely horrible. I think Atlanta was playing Louisiana or something. I don't know. But I ran into some lady, and I think she had like an LSU tattoo, trying to show me that, she's and prove to me how she was about this Louisiana life and how dedicated and loyal she was. Man, I don't care about none of that. I don't understand why people go so hard for people they don't know, and then some people actually may fight you over these teams. So if you're outspoken, you may want to speak as nice as possible, because you might be getting into brawls talking about these teams and whatnot. But yeah, sports down south is like religion to some people. Keep that in mind. Number 2, weather and natural disasters. Now, I read somewhere that in Baton Rouge, the summers are incredibly hot and humid, with June, July, and August being the 3 most uncomfortable months. It rains a lot in Baton Rouge, 63 inches annually, with June receiving about 6.7 inches of rainfall. The average highest temperature occurs in August at 92 degrees, while the average lowest temperature occurs in January at 41 degrees. The winters are chilly, but there is very little snowfall. You may see some dustings of snow in February, but at the most it will be a meager average accumulation of 0.1 inches. Keep that in mind. And also, the South offers a heat that makes you just mad. If you outside and you just in the heat, in my opinion, or just me personally, it just for some reason just kind of sometimes makes me just a little mad. Make sure you stay hydrated and all that good stuff, and then also put on some sunblock and sunscreen. Yeah. And number 1, segregation. Now, as far as like segregation and racism and all that stuff, I haven't necessarily really experienced too much of it in the South, but I always hear stories and hear about how it's there. And then I read somewhere that first, if you ever lived anywhere outside of the South, you'll realize upon arriving in Baton Rouge that it is very segregated racially and economically, not always on the surface, but it's most definitely there. So this might be the type of racism that's like, subtle. But don't take my word for it. Just do some research in the area and whatnot, and then people are different. So yeah, keep that in mind. I put bugs on the last list by accident for a con, but remember, gnats is still a con, and these things are violent and they bite you sometimes. So keep that in mind. So there you guys have it. That's the list. Thanks for watching the whole video. Thanks for staying tuned to the end. Baton Rouge overall seems like a decent place, like I said before. I don't know if I've lived there, but it seems like a decent place. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe. Get me buku lada likes. Huh? You get that? You understand? Because buku lada is Baton Rouge slang, and you get it. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, ... if you want. And until next time, I wish you guys nothing but the best.